we have this complaint that was filed once the shooting happened while Lil Baby was filming his music video. So what happened is recently they've actually arrested several of the men who were supposedly involved in this shooting. There has been some updates there. We'll give that to you in a later video. But one thing that wasn't mentioned and hasn't been brought up by a lot of people, surprising, is this lawsuit that is still pending by someone who is actually there to film the Lil Baby music video. And this is by Kevin Mayers, and he's actually filing this lawsuit against Quality Control, which Lil Baby is associated with. It's a record label Lil Baby's associated with, as well as Shot Clock LLC and others. So let's get into this claim and see what Kevin Mayers is actually looking for as a result of what happened during that shooting at the music video site. The complaint comes now, the plaintiff in the above styled action, and hereby files his complaint as follows. What is he saying? He says the defendant, Shot Clock LLC, hereafter they're going to be referred to as Shot Clock, is a limited liability company duly registered to transact business in Georgia. Service may be made upon defendant. Okay, here we go. We're good there. Defendant Shot Clock has been properly served with process in this action. Jurisdiction and venue are proper to defendant Shot Clock. Defendant Quality Control. We have Quality Control. We have Canon Executive Production Agency. Basically everyone who was involved in setting up this music video filming. All right. So let's go through and see what they're saying. So the date on May 14th, 2024. Defendants Shot Clock and Quality Control were producing and managing a hip hop music video for artist Dominique Jones, aka Lil Baby, a Grammy award winning artist with multiple top selling albums and international recognitions, to include an MTV Music Video Award, BET Award, and Apple Music Awards, among other such awards. Defendant Quality Control is a reputable entertainment company responsible for the management, label services, and video production for various well-known artists. Migos, y'all might know, it's under Quality Control too. Defendant Shot Clock and Quality Control were vested with securing an appropriate location as well as advanced and appropriate security for not only for Lil Baby, but the entire production, including but not limited to the plaintiff. As part of the critical element of vetting, obtaining, supervising, and entrusting these security responsibilities, defendant Shot Clock and Quality Control agreed verbally and in writing to hire well-trained, capitalized, and insured professional security, which they negligently failed to do. Yeah, Mr. Mayer's about to win this one. As a part of the security responsibility, defendants agreed to not allow subcontracting without specific approval, also which defendants negligently failed to enforce and perform. So they had their cousin Day Day out there with his concealed carry permit as security. And Mr. Mayer says, y'all were supposed to let us know Day Day was going to be out there popping off, right? Defendant Shot Clock and Quality Control negligently agreed to hire defendant Canon Executive for security, who in turn then negligently subcontracted and transferred the security responsibilities to defendant Tactical Elite without proper written or even verbal approval as required. Basically what happened is Canon was the middleman, and it looks like they subcontract out security. So they hired defendant Tactical Elite, and they were supposed to do that according to the agreement, which is why we have the lawsuit here. Neither defendant Canon Executive nor defendant Tactical Elite maintain adequate training, staffing, and or insurance and capitalization to cover potential liabilities as contemplated by Shot Clock and Quality Control. Indeed, all defendants agreed to maintain adequate liability insurance and negligently failed to do so. At all times herein, defendant Bristol Consulting owned, operated, controlled, and or managed the property where the video shoot and incident took place at 2179 Verbena Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314, which consists of a shopping plaza as well as a common parking area. The premises defendant Bristol Consulting agent was also present during the music video shoot. At all times, all defendants were in control, occupied, and managed the premises and the music video production located at the location, we'll just say, right, for the purposes of filming the music video. And at all times mentioned herein, all defendants were supposed to actively manage the premises and security requirements. Defendants negligently handled the pre-production planning as well as the on-site needs and responsibilities, which such negligence led to the catastrophic injuries of plaintiff Kevin Mayers. He was shot. Dang, Kevin actually got shot. We'll have to wait and see. We'll find out. But we know, as I mentioned before, 2 young men lost their lives as a result of this shooting as well. On May 14, 2024, and at all relevant times, defendant Canon Executive voluntarily undertook for pay to provide security services at the quality control music video shoot and negligently subcontracted with defendant Tactical Elite to provide security to the premises. Plaintiff was an intended beneficiary of said services. Defendant Canon Executive and Tactical Elite, as well as all other defendants, negligently failed to exercise reasonable care in the performance, training, and staffing of the specific and security services required for an international recording artist production, and the plaintiff suffered harm and reliance on defendants. Finally, the artist in no way contributed, caused, or was responsible for or to the security considerations, and those details are and were routinely handled by quality control and Shot Clock and their production decisions. All right, so they're clearing Lil Baby's name here. They said leave him out of this. The responsibility was on Shot Clock. The responsibility was on quality control. They should have known who they were hiring for security and whose live Kevin Mayers' hands were in, right? Man, that's got to be a weird situation. On May 14, 2024, plaintiff Kevin Mayers was defendant's invitee to work on the aforementioned Lil Baby music video shoot that occurred at the scene. During the shoot at approximately 4:47 p.m., 2 unknown parties began exchanging gunfire between each other, and the plaintiff Kevin Mayers was struck in the neck by a bullet. Oh, God. Causing severe and permanent injuries and significant pain and suffering. At all relevant times and under the circumstances then existing, plaintiff Kevin Mayers exercised extraordinary care and diligence and was completely innocent, victim-free of any contribution to his injuries. Prior to and on May 14, 2024, defendants negligently maintained, inspected, secured, patrolled, and managed the premises at issue. Defendants had actual and constructive knowledge of the need to properly maintain, secure, inspect, patrol, and manage the premises, especially given the unique security considerations and international success of Lil Baby, but failed to exercise ordinary care to do so, thereby creating an unreasonable risk of injury to invitees, including Kevin Mayers. That's crazy. He got shot in the neck. And basically what he's saying here is that the defendant should have known that they were going to be in an area that was unsecured. They were going to be in the area where people had issues with Lil Baby, and they should have done a better job making sure that no one was able to get close to where they were filming to cause what happened to happen. Defendants breached their duty owed to the plaintiff by failing to exercise ordinary care to keep the premises safe. Defendants knew or should have known that a significant number of violent crimes were committed in the surrounding area of the video shoot, as well as specific security needs for such a music video and the attention a well-known artist will attract and require, but negligently failed to protect invitees like Kevin Mayers from the risk of violent crimes. Also, we heard the APD say that it's Lil Baby's fault, and they blamed Lil Baby and said he knew he shouldn't have been in that area and he was inciting violence by going to a certain area, which is BS in itself. Just because he knows someone has beef with him, or there's a rival gang as they call it, which 4PF isn't a rival gang. Just because he knows they have issues with someone doesn't mean he's not allowed to go there. But that's what the APD is saying. He brought other people there. He was starting stuff and he shouldn't have been there in the first place. So it's his fault that this all happened. Defendants had actual and or constructive knowledge of the dangerous and hazardous conditions existing on the premises through the knowledge of their employees and agents and due to the prior criminal activity and dangers associated with the property and surrounding high crime area. Said prior criminal activity was negligently permitted to exist and remain on the premises before defendants knew or should have known about the long history of violent criminal activity at the shopping center and in the surrounding high crime area, as well as the unique need for this music video production. The subject shooting was foreseeable to the defendants, so they knew something was going to go down. That's why they had security. Thus, the defendants owed a duty to invitees like Kevin Mayer to exercise extraordinary care in keeping the premises and approaches safe from criminal activity and negligently breached that duty. Defendants knew of or in exercise of ordinary care should have known of the dangerous and hazardous conditions existing on the premises and that failure to maintain, inspect, secure, patrol, and manage the premises, and that said conditions were likely to result in criminal attacks like the subject incident. Defendants had actual and or constructive knowledge of criminal activity at the subject premises, so they knew something could have happened, right? Defendants had actual or constructive knowledge of criminal activity on the existing premises, so they knew something had happened before. At all times mentioned herein, defendants controlled the management of the property and had the legal duty to keep the premises in a state consistent with the due regard for the safety of their invitees, including Kevin Mayers. Defendant breached that duty and failed to act as similarly situated businesses would in like circumstances. Defendants negligently failed to maintain adequate security devices and personnel to permit proper use of property, thereby causing an unreasonable risk of injury to invitees, including Kevin Mayers. Defendants' negligence includes their failure to provide any security personnel at the property at the time of the subject shooting. Defendants were and are negligent per se. So I'll be interested to see if something or if another lawsuit comes out from the young men who were shot during this incident, if they have a lawsuit that comes out similar to this one, because security should have known what was going to happen. They should have secured the area. And if you want to argue Lil Baby shouldn't have been there, I don't think that's a good argument, because he's allowed to be there, and allowed to be in the area. That's what you have security for. So y'all let me know what you think about this. Thankfully, Kevin Mayers, he took the time to say that Lil Baby's not involved in this. I think hopefully that's going to be another hole in the argument of the APD and soon to be the district attorney's office, saying that Lil Baby was inciting violence or whatever they're trying to say happened by being in a certain area. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat.